What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
There are two things that bring my piss to a boil that the NFL oftentimes proposes. The first one is NFL team expansions. I think that's one of the dumbest things ever said. We have 32 teams in the NFL. We have 16 teams in each conference. We have 4 teams in each division. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. Everything is perfect. It's been perfect since 2002. In every way, shape, and form, that's perfect. Sure, the teams aren't aligned well in their divisions. You know, you have the Dallas Cowboys, and you had the St. Louis Rams, and one was in the West and one was in the East, and they're both in the middle of the country. Sure, some of that doesn't make any sense. Sure, maybe the NFL divisions need to be realigned, but we don't need to be adding more teams. We don't need to bring teams to London. It's so dumb. It's gonna that would absolutely dilute the league as it is. The second thing is when the NFL always talks about expanding the schedule from 16 games to 18 games. And like with the divisions, the NFL schedule is perfect. Perfect the way it is. Because the way the schedule operates is it operates on a cycle. And it's a perfect cycle, right? Each division has 4 teams. You play your 3 division rivals each twice. That's 6. And then you go ahead and you play one other division. One other division in your conference. On a cycle, you play each team once. Once. That's 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. And then you play 2 teams in your conference, the other 2 teams in your conference, who had the same division standings as you did. Let's say you're 3rd place in your division, right? You'll play the other 2 teams who were 3rd place in their division. Okay? So you play a division on a 3-year cycle. You play 2 teams from your conference. That's 12. And then you play 4 teams that's in another conference, another division from the other conference. You play them each once. That's 4. I know I explained that very poorly, but that's 6 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. That equals 16. It's perfect the way it is. And you play these teams on a cycle, so 2 years from now or 2 years in the past, you know what teams you played from that cycle because you've already experienced it. Some people have experienced this cycle 10, 12 times already. I don't know how many. Since 2002, we've been experiencing this cycle. But the NFL wants to say, hey, we want 18 games. We don't want 16 games anymore. Mostly because they want to take away 2 preseason games, which I'm not really opposed to. I really don't care about the other 2 preseason games. But the NFL, they proposed something earlier today. They proposed the idea of saying, okay, we'll have 18 games, but no one player can play more than 16 games. 16 games is the max that any one player can play in an 18-game schedule. Are you... what? I read this, and I was at a complete loss for words. It's probably one of the stupidest things that I've ever read in my life. One of the most stupidest things I've ever heard. You're saying that, you have a starting quarterback, and your starting quarterback, right? You're in week 16 and you're trying to get into the playoffs. If you win your next 2 games, you get into the playoffs. And if you've played your starting quarterback all 16 games, you can't play him for those last 2 games. You're going to have to play your backup quarterback. Like the NFL's competitive committee, whatever, they're always saying we want to make the NFL more competitive. Right? We want to make more competition. We want everything to be fair. They proposed a rule that you have to play your division rival in week 17, the last week of the season, the last game of the season, game 16, week 17. So that, there's less of a chance that teams are benching their starters in the playoffs. In the playoffs. Inversely, what this would do, as unlikely as this sounds, a team could be 16-0 and be like, okay, we'll bench our quarterback the last 2 games because we can. Middle of the week. One team is 9-0, one team is 8-1. It's a primetime game. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. What happens? One team goes, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna bench my quarterback because we're obviously really good." And I'm looking at the schedule down the road. We play a bunch of losers, a bunch of suckers. I'm gonna bench my quarterback. And then the other team's like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna bench my quarterback too." So you're caught in a situation where you've got like a Geno Smith against a Josh McCown or something like that. Not to say I actually have a lot of respect for Josh McCown, but you have like a Mike Glennon versus a Geno Smith. Just because their teams are like, well, we got to bench our quarterback at some point. The players are not going to go for this. There is going to be so much backlash here that it's not even funny at all. Like, this might be the dumbest thing the NFL has ever proposed. Like, I don't use the word abort or abortion because it's a very touchy subject. I'm very lighthearted, but this is one of those ideas that are in your head that you should have just aborted before you said it. Like, whoever proposed this rule, I have a question, right? Because I proposed some really some wonkers, right? Some ideas were like, I don't expect this to fly, but it would be a decent idea to make things more fair. But are you on drugs? Like, I hate to imitate or quote Stephen A. Smith, but are you on drugs? Stay off the weed, okay? NFL players have been trying to smoke that stuff for years, but the NFL owners, they're kicking back like, all right, are you serious here? Because I can tell you're not serious. I can tell that the NFL does not care an iota about football. They don't care about competition. They care about the money, okay? You have NFL coaches here, right? Players on Madden use timeouts better than NFL coaches. How the hell do you expect some of these guys to know when they're going to bench their starting quarterback or bench their key player? Like, the NFL still hasn't expanded the rosters. The NFL still hasn't expanded or gotten rid of the whole active and inactive thing during a game. This makes no sense. It's really dumb. And whoever leaked this, you made the NFL look terrible. You really exposed them. I don't see the NFLPA going for this. I don't see the fans going for this. You're a fan who lives in another city and your team comes to the city and you're forced to watch your second string quarterback play. You're paying $100 to buy tickets to watch that? Are you serious? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And whoever thought about this, man, I hope you get fired as soon as humanly possible, because that might be the dumbest idea ever expressed by a human being. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry I'm really charged with this, but yeah, brought my piss to a boil, and probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's all I have to say. Peace.